twice. I think I'm excited for level two. I feel um, I love the accountability of doing the work, but I think I have repeated patterns. And so I think I'm interested to kind of figure out and maybe dig deep into my shadows more about I can identify it and then boom, I get sucked back into that pattern. So that.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you. And Margie.
Hi, everybody. My name is Margie. I am from New Jersey. I came across Cass's path on TikTok and really resonated with her, as all of you did. We all love her. And I thought this was my third shadow work, but I actually started in January, so time's flying. And I'm just really finding out a lot about myself. It's something I always wanted to do, and just never took the steps, and timing is divine. So here I am with all of you, and I just really enjoy the community that is here and the space cast that you hold for all of us. Each month is just a little bit different, and things, sometimes they really click, and sometimes I feel like all my drawers that I thought were like so packed away just got pulled out and dumped on the floor, and my energy is crazy, and then I get myself together again. So it's a really cool journey.
Awesome. Thank you,
Happy to
Margie.
be here.
Happy to have you again. Rachel.
Hello. I appreciate the opportunity to have the space shared, and I continue to come back and keep coming back every time until spirit says otherwise or something feels different because it's a consistency. I've spent a lot more years not connected than I have, so I could probably do this the rest of my life and learn something. So I'm going to just keep going. But then the other piece of it too is also there is a strategic piece of it is that the more I know that I'm doing the work and the more that I trust my consistency and I trust even the activities that I do in my day, the more I want to push myself a little bit to say, you had a belief. Do you believe that anymore? Well, we'll go do shadow work if you don't. And it's kind of like I can do shadow work if this doesn't work out for me, so try it. And it's opened up a whole new freedom to do that.
Love it. Thank you. Good to see you again.
Mhm. You too.
And Hope, are you able to share?
Yeah, sorry, I was like, Um, the and I blanked. Hold on. Can
Oh,
we ask
just
the
who you
question
are,
again?
where you're from, why you signed up for this
Okay.
month.
Sorry, I was like, I have it, and then I was like, ooh, no, I don't. Um, I'm Hope from Illinois. Um, Shadow work. This is my this is my third. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and initially I joined because I was like, well, it wouldn't hurt to give it a try. But now that I'm actually noticing like changes in ways that regular therapy wasn't helping me do, here I am again. Um, like this weekend, I literally um had brought myself out to like a restaurant and I ate by myself and I gave away hearts, which is something that I never ever would have thought I would have ever done. But I had like a blast. Like I had the funnest time. Um, and at the beginning of this, if you would have told me that I'd be doing that just, almost 3 months in, I would have been like, haha, okay. But no, here we are and I'm having a great time. So here we are.
Love it. I love it. Awesome. Thank you. So it sounds like everybody just really loves shadow work, which I love. But I love the patterns thing too, Darcy, because it's an interesting switch when we start to, the trigger, how to keep your energy at a place where you're not triggered, but then sometimes you are, and sometimes you just end up back and you're like, wait a second, how did I get here? And so for this month, we are going to be, for the first this week, we're going to look at like our spiritual beliefs and how they've shaped us from early childhood to now, how they've shifted a little bit, where you're at with your connection to a higher power, and how to use that, like your true beliefs, your inherent true beliefs regarding a higher power and your feeling of connection. We've talked a lot in the previous classes about connection to God, source, universe, creator, but your inner light, but like your ideas and beliefs and how they've shifted can still have a little bit of an effect on your shadow where you might question certain things, or there is space there for those patterns to like you're not fully in faith. So like that's where that space is created where you fall into like not just turning to the energy that guides us and you start going into the bad habits and whatever it may be. So that's what we're going to do this week. And then next week we'll connect with the inner child again. And then something that has been brought up by a couple of you is like bad habits, vices, and addictions. So we're going to talk about that the third week. And then the fourth week is up to spirit. I haven't had a download on that. So that's where we're going from here. So tonight, I just want to talk about spiritual beliefs, and I think it would be kind of cool to share too, where you guys are at with, has your belief systems changed drastically from the beginning, and where do you feel like your level of true trust, 0 to 100, is at this point right now? If you're comfortable sharing. I am going to ask you to share in this class a little bit more if you're comfortable. If you're not, say, I'd like to not share. That's fine. Does anybody have anything that they or want to share their experience?
What was the first part of that, Cass?
So how your religion or your, sorry, not religion, but how your faith, how your spirituality has changed from early childhood to now, and what % of trust you're at with some sort of energy that guides us. Which I think, knowing all of you that are taking this class, even the ones that are watching from afar or tomorrow, I happen to know all of you have some sort of belief in something greater that guides us. So yeah, has it changed drastically since you've been a child? And what level of trust are you at currently? Margie? I can tell you're ready.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was hesitating a little bit, but so I grew up Catholic. Always have been practicing since I was a baby. My husband and I are practicing Catholics. Um, and we raised our daughter, Emily, who's 23 now also. So that has been prevalent my whole life. I wouldn't say that um, I've ever well, let me back that up. I never deeply questioned the faith, and that may have had a lot to do with my early childhood because, as Cass and some of you know from the being in the shadow work classes, my father died when I was 3. So my grandmom, everybody, I guess, raising me, they just kind of kept faith as that security. I went to Catholic school and that kind of thing, and I know that that had a lot to do with it, that trauma. Um, and I didn't really ever question it so much as I researched it. I like to study, and I have friends of all different faiths, all different faiths. And I had joked with Cass, I said I'm a cosmic Catholic, right? Because, we're known for being very strict and ancient traditions, but I love that. I think there's something so beautiful about that. And so for me, that works. There have been times when I was very relaxed with it, but I never ran from it. I think I embraced, I call myself the cosmic Catholic, kind of like half witch, half nun kind of thing, so I kind of like do my own thing. I'm here and I just love to share. And I know that, there's a greater universe, source, God, whatever you want to call it. But for me in my daily walk, I don't even know if I'm answering your question. I'm rambling, but
In your daily
ask
walk.
me again. What didn't I answer? I don't
No,
know.
no, you're perfect. The trust, like, are you fully, like, what % trust are you at? Do you feel like, and you don't have to say this out loud if you want to write it down.
Yeah, no, I believe that, listen, I'm human, right? So nobody gets out of this life unscathed, and we all go through traumas and situations. And I battled an alcohol addiction for 12 years. That was really that was tough. And I carry a lot of shame and guilt for that. I didn't really think it was a big deal till it kind of became a big deal. In fact, this past Palm Sunday was my fourth year sober.
Oh, congratulations.
And that was spiritual. It was
Yeah.
Palm Sunday, and I was really just leaning and just surrendering myself, um, with my faith to help me with that. Um, yeah, so I don't know that my percentage is there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a higher percentage. It fluctuates like anything.
Yeah, I feel like it's like something to consider as we go through the journaling prompts and just as we talk about this is what percent of the time when something goes right or something goes wrong, do you say immediately before the mind loop starts, before the like everything starts and your nervous system is starting to react, how many times do you say thank you to that energy? Not thank you to, oh, I did a good job, right? Thank you to that energy, not, oh, I screwed up. Okay, this happens. Where do we go from here? And so like what percent of the time is that happening in your life? And that's just something to consider in your walk with your faith. Does anybody else want to share kind of how they've changed over the years and that percentage? Darcy?
So I think as a child, I grew up in a very strict Catholic household. My grandparents were both actively involved in the church. Like my grandfather was the custodian, my grandmother did the cooking. Like, I was brought up to believe like you have to be perfect, there are rules, the whole Catholic guilt type of term. When I went to college, I went to a Catholic college and I took world religions and recognized like, oh wow, there's a lot of like commonalities. And that's what kind of like broadened my like, wait a second, maybe it's not just all about how the Catholics do it. Um, and then I had my family and I started to question things a little bit, but I wanted to be sure that my kids had at least the same like formal Catholic like so that they could one day make their own decision, but I certainly wasn't the one to teach them in my feeling. Um, but I also kind of felt like, well, nobody really knows. So I have to say more midlife for me now that my kids are older. I started to have these just very strong like feelings, coincidences. Like my heart just felt so good when I was giving, loving, understanding, like all of those feelings. It just felt good. And I'd go to church and it felt good. Although it was the strict piece, I was able to kind of say, okay, I'm getting their message, but I just feel good. And so a year ago or so, I started a gratitude journal. And I feel like now every day, even when I have a hard day, I'm like grateful that I had the strength to get through that, or that I learned a message that may have been hard, or that I was willing to like reflect on myself. So I guess in general, I feel like over my life, I have so much more of a trust now in this, you know, source God, like creator. I know everyone has their own word for it. To me, it's God. That's how I still see it. But I just feel like I have more of an understanding, but I'm not necessarily sure I understand factually anymore. It's just the feeling and trust that I have.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Rachel?
I grew up pretty much afraid of all religion. Pretty much, it was a scary thing. It was all tried to be, and it was scary because if you did something wrong, it was used against us. So it was just like this very messed up thing. So by the time I was an adult and was raising my daughter, my ex-husband was very religious. So I just did it. But it wasn't until all of that went away and I started exploring on my own that I started to find in almost all senses that when I got out of my own way got rid of resentment and anger and fear and all that, that I had a good relationship with God, higher power, whatever you call it. I call it a power greater than myself because it keeps me very grounded that I am not in charge. And that helps me a great deal in how I frame throughout my day. And so throughout my day today versus before, zero before. And but then it would be like, oh wait, I remember how to get reconnected, and then I'd forget and earthly things would kind of happen. And now it's kind of like contact all day long, and that's something I have never been able to maintain or experience. And I think it's because the healing piece of this is that as I expose different parts of myself, I get to heal different parts of myself. And that exposes beliefs and things that I get to redo again. And so when I connect with my higher power and I that inner child of mine and we have a conversation, that's the most healing thing that I've gotten to experience. And so that constant contact is all day. I'm driving down the road and that car looks squarely at me. I'm like, hey, what was that about? And I ask it out loud. The dogs hear me all day, but it really, having that constant talk has changed it all. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Hope, do you want to share?
I think for me, like growing up, so like religion wasn't something that we ever like thought about or, worried about. My grandma usually is like, oh, they'll watch the kids for free, send them to church. Or like, oh, things are really, really bad right now, go to church. But like other than that, like it wasn't ever something that we had like worried about. But I remember as a kid, I would like all the time talk about my grandma that I never met. And like just say like, things that I would have never known, having not met her. And I think it really scared my mom. And so she kind of like shut it down for a long time. And, growing up, the more it gets shut down, the more you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't lean into that or say those things. And it wasn't until my brother had passed that everything, like the whole path I was on was like, and I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Like we're starting new. Cool. And that's when I really started like, nope, this is real. This is something that I feel. This is something I can lean into. Like he is still here. I know that he's still here. Like how else would I have had these signs? How else would I have known, this or that or whatever? And then when I had like, readings or joined circles or whatever and like had people kind of confirm it and like make it feel like it's tangible, that's when I was kind of like, no, this is like legit. And like, I don't have to suppress that because this is something that I experience and that's okay, even though everybody may not be comfortable with that. This is the path that I'm meant to be on. And that's not the path for everybody, but it's the path for me. So I would say if I gave it a percentage, would trust in that a solid 85% of the time because I'm in my head a lot, but we're really working on it.
There we go. That's all that matters. Awesome. Yeah, I think that, thank you for sharing. The way that the shadow can pop up in our terms of spirituality, because you guys might be like, Cass, like obviously I'm pretty connected. I listen to you all the time. Like we're talking about this stuff all the time. But the way that the shadow is going to pop up is if you are truly in 100% connection with the divine source of energy that guides us all and provides the experience of our past loved ones and us, you wouldn't give into the bad habits. Like you wouldn't. And so, in those moments, you might think to yourself, I said when something good happens or when something bad happens, like we're looking to that energy first. Like that is our first magnet connection is that love. But even in just the simple day-to-day tasks, when we're not in alignment or trusting that we're here for a reason, we have a purpose, like, and we're forgetting that, or there is space between our trust and that energy, and not even trust, but just acknowledgement and embodiment of that energy, which actually underneath the surface does have to go to trust, I think. And there's an element of this human experience that is going to be distrustful because it's not tangible. So like that is going to be 2% of this percentage if we talk about it. Like it's not tangible. We all have different experiences with it. And therefore it's not like so concrete that it's just right there. And everything that is non-physical is more difficult to be aware of in the human experience because we are physical and this is a dense plane, and the things that are here physically, like the bottle of alcohol that's going to help you calm down at the end of the night, or for that matter, a bag of potato chips. Right now, mine is bread and butter. Like I cut out sugar, which is great. Now I'm eating loaves of bread with butter. The coffee in the morning, like whatever it is. When we are in full embodiment of trust that those decisions matter, that our lives, our decisions, our energy, and all of those things affect our energy matter, we wouldn't be utilizing any of those. Look at the Buddhist monks, right? Or nuns for that matter. No, I think that's a different everybody has a different experience, but our shadow is activated when there is a level of distrust. So the more that we can, consciously create trust with this source of energy and consciously choose to engage in every decision, with this energy, we are truly co-creators. Whether you believe in God, source, universe, creator, we're co-creating our experience, our realities, meaning that we can navigate through our free will any situation in any way. We can go in, I could, even in the place that I'm in now, I could go into a space tomorrow and it cause an emotional storm for everybody, right? Like, oh, Christy just joined. Like we have that ability. And so it's really important to like honor where we are feeling distressful or where we're not acknowledging that presence of energy and why we're not. And a lot of times I think that could be due to the instability in faith in our childhood, or the questions that we had that weren't answered, or the fears that we had as a child. Perhaps you had really bad nightmares. Perhaps a parent died young. And in the back of your mind, in the way back of your subconscious, you're like, but why would this happen to me? And like that does cause a little bit of unsettled feeling within us that then creates a space where we need alcohol, we need the bread and butter, we need the coffee in order to feel whole and safe in our day, when really feeling whole and safe is coming from this beautiful energy that created us and that is within us. And when we close that gap, we're able to be very grounded, and it's just natural. I think it'll always be a somewhat of a conscious practice, as if you are living in a normal society. If you were to live in the mountains of Tibet and dedicate your life to complete connection, and there wasn't availability of coffee and all the little things that we like, or the ability to get into an argument with someone or be triggered, that's a very different story. But because we live in these societies where those things are available for us, that space is created naturally, and we have to consciously bridge that gap ourselves with our practice, our connection, and honoring where we're at with that trust. And it's one thing to kind of look at your life and see the growth, which is, don't get me wrong, the most beautiful thing ever. All of you have had incredible growth, but in this level too, it's digging a little bit deeper and trying to see, where is that space being created for me, and how do I close that gap? And so we'll do a meditation today too that brings you back to talk to your inner child about God or about the universe, about creator, and see if they have any messages for you about something that could help you as you really embody every single day this connection and really embody the safety and support and guidance. Raise your hand if you feel truly loved by the energy that guides us. It's okay if you don't. I didn't until often. I mean, recently. Hi, Christy, good to see you. We're talking about spirituality and shadows within spirituality, like our actual religious or spiritual beliefs in our inner child and how that's working through us in our adult life. So, because there's a big difference between feeling like things happen for a reason to feeling like I am safe, I am protected, I am guided, I am truly loved by this beautiful source of energy. And our past loved ones, I think, are a piece of that, but a small piece of that, Darcy, what are you laughing about over there?
Because it's funny how, like, I'm listening to the things you're saying, like, do I feel loved? Yes. Do I feel, when you talk about like safe and all those other things, I feel like I'm the blame when I'm not safe. Like, so it turns the other way for me.
Can you give me an example?
So like, if I were to say like, oh, like what you just said, I am safe. Well, I'm safe right now in the house, but when I'm out in life, like people might say something that hurts my feelings, or I'm not sure if I'm making the right decision. Like there's a lot of like, I feel like I'm the reason that I'm not necessarily safe. And they're probably up there saying, no.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm to blame, but I feel the love. I just feel like I'm interfering.
Okay. And how do you give up that control to just allow this beautiful light and energy to just be within you that provides that safety, where you don't have to control it. You don't have to, you don't have to manipulate it. Like it can just be within you. And when those things happen, you just surrender to that instead of, what did I do wrong?
I come home and listen to Cass on TikTok. That's what I
There we go. Okay. That's one avenue to do it. Does anybody else have anything to say? Rachel?
I'm glad you brought that up because I experienced something similar. It wasn't until like I peeled more stuff back to where the trusting and the knowing, and I believe it was because, well, it was like when I just finally gave up on everything, right? And I started realizing that I was fighting the trusting out of a habit of fighting it rather than just being, right? And so when you brought that up, I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what it felt like, was that I knew intellectually, right? And I could feel it in my heart space. I could feel it throughout my day, but it wasn't until just some one day on shadow work that everything just changed. And I just thank God for it. It just happened. But it has evolved and changed. And it can easily get back to when a resentment comes up. But what's different now is like, oh, a resentment comes up, or I find a fear. It's like, oh, that's a fear. Oh gosh, let's work that. And I seek that connection to my higher power to work it, and then to paper, which is before I used to just go to my head to work it. So,
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. I had an experience that just brought to mind. The way that I started to shift, it was probably about a year ago that I started to really feel, I had a really traumatic incident happen where I actually felt loved. I felt guided into the situation. I felt guided out of the situation. I felt loved and protected through the situation. And that was my true awakening moment 3 years ago. And then from there, I would say there was about 6 months that I really did feel very connected. But then that kind of situation kind of wore off, the trauma of that wore off, and life started to become normal again, and relatively normal. And then my own fears, insecurities, and things started to come back, right? And so then the next year and a half, 2 years, I was navigating that relationship. And that's where I went back and forth between universe and God. And as I've told you guys before, I had no spiritual connection when I was younger. I was raised, my father was atheist. I was baptized Protestant. My brother was not baptized at all. And it was almost like a flex for my parents to say that they didn't need religion. Like they were just good people morally because they were good people, not because God told them so. And that's how I was raised. Like literally would go into school as a kid and be like, well, I'm just a good person because I'm a good person, not because God told me to be. Like your parents are teaching you. Like that's a good person, right? This little egotistical girl. Thanks, Dad. So but I did question God when I was like 6 or 7 or 8. I just was in school and people would go to church. I remember my friends talking about it. So my grandmother took me to church, whatever. So as I was going through this 2 year span of like figuring out what I believed in, and it started with mediumship and recognizing our past loved ones are a part of our lives. And then it was like, I started to hear the voice of a very high entity of light that had a deep male voice that I consider the voice of God. And I say like the voice, but it was actually like the feeling of the resonance of the message was very different than I was getting from like my grandfather or a spirit guide. It was deeper, it was more impactful, instantly brought tears to my eyes. So if you have not had that experience yet, meditate until you hear directly from source. From this point forward, that's your homework this week. Like really, really connect to the entity that provides all of this. But I was really struggling with seeing the divine nature in everybody. And this is where we get into those situations where you're having a conversation with a coworker or somebody and you're not in alignment with God's love, with the universe's love, with that true guidance that you are a light, that you're not meant to react, you're just meant to provide. Like what happened for me as I was working at the bed and breakfast, I think I might have told this story before, but I was working at the bed and breakfast and I was doing a ton of mediumship readings. This was right after I started TikTok, and I was doing free readings for people who have lost kids, which I still do. And so I was literally like making breakfast at the inn, then going into my apartment, doing 2 mediumship readings, coming out, checking people in for the night, then checking people in, then going back and doing mediumship readings, and then coming back out and dealing with people's complaints because they didn't have enough pillows, or they didn't have this, they didn't have that. And it was just like a huge contrast to go from helping people who are literally at rock bottom emotionally to these people who were pretty much at the same level vibrationally upset about not having enough pillows. And I remember this one woman, I had meditated and then I went back out to check people in, and I had asked God, I was like, please help me to see how you are in every single one of us, and how like this is just an experience, and that your love transcends all of this. And this woman came down and she was like, I cannot believe how thick these pillows are. How am I supposed to sleep on these pillows? Not, hey, I'm sorry, like I'd really like a thinner pillow. Do you have any available? Like shaking her head, like, oh, so, and just so upset. And I took a deep breath and I just like heard God, and felt it. Like I almost was brought to tears. And I looked in her eyes and I just saw someone who is full of light that was so confused and so dark, like in their mind. And I just kept hearing, like, look in her eyes, look in her eyes, look in her eyes. This is not her hurting you. This is just her experience, but her soul is pure. Her soul is love. Her soul is me. And to look at every single person like that, like each of our souls is God, is the universe, is source, is creator, is this beautiful energy of unconditional love and light. And the way that everything is happening around us is just a formulation of the dense human experience that we're in, and to honor that in every single space that we're in. So when I was in Florida and I saw a snake, I took a deep breath and my heart opened to feeling the divine love from the snake. And I was able to walk by it and not have an anxiety attack or want to run away or want to, God forbid, kill it. I never wanted to kill them, but if somebody else killed them for me, I was very happy. So that's that. Now, let's do a couple of journal questions. I want to make sure that they don't repeat kind of what we've already talked about. Do you? Okay, let's start with this one. Do you feel like your relationship with God, Source, Universe, Creator is more present? How do I say this? Is more present when you are focused on spirituality, or is truly in every moment? Are you creating practices every day to set yourself up? Or is it like, I'm going through a phase right now, or I'm doing a mediumship practice, I got to meditate. Are you incorporating, connection every day? Or is it when when you're focused on it for certain reasons? All right. When life gets hard, do you lean in or pull away spiritually? Do you go to the bread and butter, the coffee, the alcohol, the doom scrolling? Or do you go to God, to the universe? Darcy, this is beautiful, loving connections. You don't have to get stressed. You're deep breathing, going like this. This is all good. Okay. Okay, so it's a little bit harder, I think, for us to like visualize or consciously understand like how our soul is connected to this light. So imagine God, the universe, source creator, Jesus, whatever entity of light you believe in. If you literally imagined that this entity was right next to your shoulder, not judging you, just simply guiding you to the light to act within your heart. Imagine walking through your day. Can you see how you would act differently or how your day would change? Is there an area of your life where you feel let down or disappointed by God and the universe? And at the end of that, I want you to ask for help consciously, directly, and write a question or like a plea, I guess you could call it, for assistance with that. And then what does it feel like in your body to be fully aligned to the love that exists? And I think this is important to note because in those times where you feel disconnected or you're about to, do something that's not in your highest good, or you're about to react to an argument, like having awareness of how it should feel can kind of bring you back into that. So if you're responding to someone and you don't feel centered, grounded, whatever, rooted, that's your immediate cue to be like, I'm starting the pattern. Do not start that. How do I get back to feeling the connection right now? That's priority. Not reacting, not responding, not going to eat the bread and butter. Do something to feel grounded. I thank God, literally, that I didn't get into baking sourdough bread because I just want to be able to stop. But instead I buy it, but at least it's like one loaf at a time. Do you feel like you've truly been forgiven for all of the mistakes of your past? This might be a little repetitive, but I think it's important to end on this note. What would it look like and feel like to walk through your life in full trust that nothing that is happening to you is not by design? The way that you're navigating certain situations, your health, your finances, like every single aspect of life is by design. And you are co-creating your experience in those realms, like trusting that your light can match the light of God, Source, Universe, Creator to do miraculous things in every single moment. There is nothing that is stopping you from that. I have one more question. Do you believe in miracles? Do you believe you are worthy of one of those miracles? Darcy, your facial expressions crack me up. No, it's awesome. Or are those reserved for other people? And does that hold you back from asking and or working towards a miracle happening in an aspect of your life? Maybe with a relationship, maybe with any aspect of life. All right, we're good. Good, good. All right. Anybody have any questions? Anything that came up they want to share? All right, let's talk to our inner child and make sure they're on board with everything we wrote down, because I bet something's going to come up then, which I love. You all are like, yes, yes, I believe in miracles. And your 9-year-old is going to be like, remember that one time in church where somebody said, but that's what's living rent free within us, so we don't even realize. And especially with spirituality, you just don't focus on it, and it does live in there. So it's important to address it and balance it out. Okay, all right, so get comfortable and we'll do the meditation and start to close your eyes. And just come into a relaxed state, taking a deep breath in through your nose and letting go out through your mouth relaxing your shoulders and relaxing your hips. And taking a deep breath in through your nose. And relaxing out through your mouth, sighing, letting all the stress of the day go. And coming in to inner peace within yourself, relaxing further and further as you take another deep breath in through your nose and let go out through your mouth. And starting to do a scan of your body from head to toe, feeling any areas of stress and letting them go, relaxing further, reminding yourself and your body that you don't have to hold any aspect of your body. You can just be in this moment. Nothing to do, nothing to think about, nothing to judge about yourself or others. You can just be you, the beautiful soul, in this very able physical body with a quiet mind and an open heart. Take another deep breath in through your nose and let go out through your mouth, relaxing deeper and deeper as we set the intention to connect with the highest entities of light, including aspects of our inner child that are wanting to help us with our spiritual connection and growth at this point in our human experience. And imagine the beautiful light from God, Source, Universe, Creator, the beautiful energy pouring down through every level of the universe, through every level of heaven, through every aspect of our atmosphere, directly into your crown chakra. This beautiful light trickling down through your energy fields, into your body, into every single cell within your body, relaxing and giving peace and alignment to every single aspect of you. Imagining it moving down your head, into your neck, into every tight muscle, allowing yourself to just relax. This beautiful light moving down into your shoulders and arms, down into your chest and your upper back, relaxing you further. This beautiful energy moving down into your abdomen and into your hips and down into your legs and into your feet, relaxing you further, aligning you to your truth, aligning you to the beautiful energy and light of God, Source, Universe, Creator, reminding you who you really are, that you're right where you're supposed to be. Now imagine the beautiful roots growing down from your feet into the center of the earth, imagining your roots just like the roots of the trees, moving down deeper and deeper and deeper into the center of the earth, into the core of the earth, where Mother Earth's energy is held, and that beautiful, beautiful energy of Mother Earth coming up through your roots, up through each layer of the earth into the bottom of your feet, almost making you like a magnet to this earth, reminding you that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You are a part of this earth, and you are alive with all the plants and animals and everything that exists in divine nature on this planet. You are a part of, you are. This beautiful energy moving up into your feet, into your legs, up into your hips, grounding you, relaxing you. This beautiful energy moving up into your abdomen, into your chest, up into your shoulders, down into your arms and hands, up into your neck and up into your head. as you are grounded into this earth's frequency and aligned with the beautiful love and frequency from God's source, universe, creator. And imagine your soul, your energy expanding throughout your entire body from the center of your chest. This beautiful light mixing perfectly as it is so aligned and is an aspect of the energy from above and below. But your unique soul, your unique frequency shining bright throughout your entire being, creating a beautiful halo of light around you that even expands into the room around you. And imagine yourself as a beautiful light being walking through your happy place. It can be somewhere where you've had a beautiful memory, a beach, a forest. Allow yourself and your imagination to be guided where you're meant to go, into a beautiful memory, a beautiful space, a magical space that is completely safe, that is filled with light and fun and joy and peace and alignment. And as you walk through this space, notice all of your surroundings with your sight, the beautiful scenery, the way the sunlight moves around the space. Listen for any sounds of the space. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Smell the air. And allow yourself just to explore, completely free, nowhere to go, nowhere to be. Allow yourself to just explore and stumble upon what you're meant to stumble upon. And in a few minutes, we'll ask your inner child to step forward. But for now, just explore and see what you find. I'll leave you for a moment. All right, at this time, find a nice place to sit down and invite your inner child to sit with you, and honor whatever age they show up as we set the intention now to connect with a piece of our inner child, an age of our inner child that wants to help us with our spiritual growth and connection. And take a seat and wait for them to come over. And tell them about our session today. Tell them about what you've been reflecting on in your current experience. And ask if there's any advice they have or anything from your childhood that can help you in letting go of any resistance to fully embodying the trust of God, source, universe, creator. You may wish to go for a walk with them or sit where you are. All right. And now ask them if there is a certain book that would help you. And it could be a book that you read at that age or a book they recommend you read now. But ask them to show you a book that they really enjoyed or that would help you through this connection? And ask them if there's anything that they still worry about. And if there is anything, give them a hug or talk to them about it and give them some advice. And now I want you to imagine walking in some sort of place in nature if you're not already there, with your inner child on your left and God, Source, Universe, Creator on your right. And imagine walking through this space in nature and pointing out to your inner child the divine nature of everything that you're coming into contact with. And allow God, Source, Universe, Creator, who's on your right, to lead you and guide you, to show you the divinity and all the nature that is around you. And teach this little child how everything is an aspect of God, Source, Universe, Creator. All right, and thank them for stepping forward to help you today and to share this experience with you today and to share their love with you today. And start to shift your awareness back into your experience in this space where God, Source, Universe, Creator is always next to you, a part of you, within you. And that feeling is so strong all of the time. But shift your awareness from them standing next to you to feeling them within your heart. And say goodbye to your inner child, thanking them for their experience and time. And start to walk back in the space that you decided to go in. And just walk with God, Source, Universe, Creator deeply in your heart, noticing all of the divine nature of everything around you and even this experience. Feeling deep gratitude for this experience, for the time to work on yourself and your connection. And then start to bring your awareness back into your physical room. And start to wiggle your toes and your fingers and come back and open your eyes when you're ready. How are we? I don't know why I kept seeing a book. They're like, I was guided. Ask them about the book. Ask them about the book. I have to ask, did anybody have a red book? Hope, did you recognize the book? What books popped up? Did any books pop up?
It was I had a red copy of the Catching Fire Hunger Games
Do you know I was obsessed with the Hunger Games?
because I was like at a bonfire. It was like,
Yeah.
and then there was like music playing, and I was like, where is the music coming from? And yeah.
Um, that's, oh my gosh, Catching Fire. You're Katniss. I think everybody's Katniss. I used to have parties in college and Hunger Games parties in college, and I dressed up as Katniss. Anyway, that's embarrassing, but that's so interesting. And you're at a bonfire. I also wrote a collagen paper about how Suzanne Collins was a new age prophet. They in the religion, most religions say that prophets don't exist in modern day. And I was in a Catholic college, and there was like 4 people in the class in this like little office. It was the most bizarre thing. And the woman had us, I swear she was like sent there to teach this class now, maybe to me because she was Catholic, but she was having us watch Supernatural. She was talking about Judaism, and she was like, and then our last final paper was pick somebody who is a modern day prophet, and everyone else picked like, I don't know, the Dalai Lama or something, but I picked Suzanne Collins, the author of the Hunger Games. There's something for you to explore there, Hope. You need to embody Katniss in some way. I feel like I'm not kidding. I'm gonna look into that too. Okay, anyways, anybody else have a book? Darcy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I had The Little Old Man Who Couldn't Read. It's probably not for everyone because it's old, but
okay.
it was about a little old man who was left behind while his wife went away for the weekend. He couldn't read. He had this experience where he goes to the grocery store, but he couldn't read anything. And everything he thinks he bought, he comes back and it was none of the things. But the message that I got was like, I can do hard things. I can get over things. Like, so sad. But my little inner me said, just love me for who I am. I lost it. I
Oh my
lost it.
God.
I'm like, wait, that's awful. But I guess I can resonate. I can understand where that comes from.
I love it. Awesome. Rachel?
I just saw one of those little golden books from like the 70s that was like all cracked. It was like all cracked and yellow. A yellow little golden, I have no idea what it was, but cracked from the.
Interesting to look up.
I don't know why I said the 70s, but like when I was in my meditation, I was like, why from the 70s? And I don't know. So I don't know. That's what that was the conversation.
Okay. Awesome. Anybody else?
I thought of Charlotte's Web. I didn't see it, but
Yeah, that matters. So you'll have to look into that. That actually, isn't that by, wait, who wrote that? Charles Dickens. C.S. Lewis.
no, no.
Evie White,
Somebody
right?
Webb.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
White?
We should go.
Yeah,
we should
White.
know this. You're
No.
right.
Was it Evie White?
Yes.
Okay.
I think. Darcy's a teacher. She would know.
Here's the book. Little Old Man Who Couldn't Read.
Oh, I think we should all look at the book thing was really significant when I was channeling. So we should all look up these books for one reason or another. I'm gonna feel into the Hunger Games for Hope, but I want you to feel into that too. But Christy,
I
Charlotte's
think
Web.
it's funny because we all were like, no, not that
Yeah,
book. Like, what?
Evie White. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is that book popping up? Right. But you'll have to look into the major themes in that book is what you're meant to focus on, which I don't
Oh.
remember. But cool. Very cool. Margie?
I got the energy bus.
I don't know it.
And I didn't even, I was like, why am I getting that book? And when I opened up my eyes and I just happened to look up, well, there it is. I've never read it. I have like a ton of books up here. And I was like telling my inner child, no, pick another book like this. But oh, here it is. It's the energy bus. It's people that John Gordon, I know what it's about. It's 10 rules to fuel your life, work, and team with positive energy. But they talk about the energy vampire. and dealing with the energy vampire and people that suck the life out of you. Never
John wrote that as a children's book, Margie.
What's
It
that?
also that book also comes in a children's book.
Oh, it does?
Yeah,
Oh,
John Gordon.
wow.
Yeah, John. Yeah,
Interesting.
he wrote that as a children's book as well. Yeah. He's got a whole set, The Carpenter, like very
Oh,
much very similar. But the kids' book I thought was cool. Yeah.
That's
very
awesome.
cool.
I love it. I keep thinking about Clifford. I wrote it down. Oh my God, I wrote it down. Because I saw a red book, but I don't really see too much for myself. But I keep thinking about Clifford, so I'm gonna look at Clifford. And anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns? Anything revelatory, is that the word, come up during the meditation? Revelationary? What, I don't know what the word is there.
I guess my question is like, so when your inner child comes to you at a certain age, is that significant in any way?
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you're thinking about spirituality and stuff. Like, for example, I did see myself at like 3 or 4 years old. I have this, like, I'll just share with you guys. I have this, not fear, but something that popped up during my awakening was that I had hit my head so many times because I've had a lot of concussions, like a lot. And once I fell on brick and like I was out of work for like 4 weeks. Like I literally couldn't see and just like the craziest headaches. I fell off a horse and hit my head on a jump, like a wooden jump, and blacked out and had a concussion. And then I had this little car at a Ford Fiesta for like a long time. And 2 of them actually. I had like a trauma bond to the Ford Fiesta. I talk about it all the time in my regular life. I bought a second one. I don't know why. It's like a little clown car. And a tree fell on the first one. Clearly a sign, Cass, get a new car. You live in New England. What are you doing in this little clown car? And then I bought a second one. It was so bizarre. Anyway, the getting out of it, I would hit my head on the it's just a small car, and I would constantly, it had like the rubber, so I didn't even notice I was doing it a lot of the times. Then I went to go work at the inn last year or whatever, and there was tons of short closets, and I would smack my head, right the top of my head, all the time. And I did go through a phase of being like, am I just really spiritual because I've hit my head so many times? Because, you know, people have all sorts of things happen when they hit their head a lot. But I meditated on it a lot at the time when it kind of popped into my awareness. And I just kept getting these downloads from like 3, 4 years old of, no, you've always been very connected, Cass. Like, you have hit your head and that's a thing, but this has been your whole life. But it's hard for me because I didn't have any sort of religious or spiritual belief or feeling in my heart my whole life. So I was like, is this just happening because I hit my head so many times? But no. So in this meditation today, I had a vision of myself at 3 or 4 years old, which I was like talking to my stuffed animals. There was like stuffed animals in the corner of my room, and I would just lay there all morning. Instead of waking up, like I remember my parents would come in. I was really young, like I was 4 years old, because I lived in that house that I'm seeing up until a certain point. And that's a cue for me too. So I'm in my old house that I lived in until I was 5. That house was charged. That house I had a lot of experiences in that I probably wouldn't remember until I meditated on a year ago. But I was seeing the stuffed animals and like talking to them. I also had an imaginary friend in that house. So that's just something for me to validate, like I've always been spiritual, but also feel really good, like that freedom to just talk to your stuffed animals, you know, and not worry about who you're talking to, why you're talking to them, but that embodiment of that freedom and that lightness and that connection. I can remember it in that space at that time. And that can help me recognize what that feels like now. Or if there was like a situation, like it's interesting, I didn't go back to when I was 8 years old in Sunday school and I remember sitting at the table looking around being like, this is kind of weird that we're just making cookies, but we're talking about God. Like, I just remember being like, something's weird here. This is it's like a fun school, but I'm not getting it. But questions arise and stuff, and just like look at like how your life was shaped through your connection at the time that you were brought back to. Did anybody have anything come up like regarding any like significant memories or experiences that were spiritual that kind of validated? Rachel?
Yeah, I had a memory that I'd never had before at a very young age, at a very old house. Um, and I finally like connected a fear that I had about a door to stairs. And like it was safe again and the door's shut and you're outside and then all of a sudden we're reading a book and I was like, well, I don't even quite remember the whole thing. And then as we've been sitting here talking, it's been like clicking in my head of remembering that whole situation. And I was young. I mean,
Yep.
it was like 4, like
Yep.
under five.
Yep.
But that's kind of how it always unfolds. I just never,
You never know.
before it was scary, it's just not scary anymore. And it's just like, oh, cool, we got a new thing. Oh, thank you. It's kind of like, thank you for this. It like makes sense finally.
Yeah. It could also represent a major shift where you didn't even realize it, but your beliefs started to change. That happened
Oh,
for
that would make sense. That would make sense. Yeah, totally.
Darcy was
So I guess, and I don't know if this means anything. So the it was like a kindergarten me,
Yep.
and so the book came, Little Old Man Who Couldn't Read.
Yep.
I struggled to read. I think in this day and age, I'd probably be dyslexic. But
Okay.
when I took a ton of, I had to take tests. I could never pass them because I couldn't, like for teaching, like it was a hurdle constantly. So it's wild that that book came up because that man had to overcome his difficulty with reading.
Yep.
And so like that's a weird, like that's a wild, going back to your childhood, how that all,
Yeah.
like I'm trying to put the pieces together. Like, did that all happen? Is there
Yeah.
a message in there? Like it's,
Yeah.
I'm
So
still
now,
processing.
like sit with it and perhaps meditate again and be like, how does this relate to my spirituality? Were you super sensitive? What just popped into my mind? Maybe there's a reason I prompted you to ask you to further your explanation. My best friend's daughter that is dyslexic, I always would say to her, like, that might not be your primary language. I would say it differently to a 12-year-old, but like maybe like written words and things aren't your language, but energy is your language. And like reflect on energetic experiences at that time and what that felt like for you. Could you sense things about other people? There's probably some sort of spiritual connection or memory or experience you had that's trying to come through prompting that space. But because your shadow and your insecurity about that deep down is all the darkness is more tangible for us to pick up on, you kind of got there and didn't get to the next step. But it's just a little bit of work. If you're up for it, might be something cool to unlock. All right. Should we do energy? All right. I will set the intention to send you guys the most beautiful energy that helps you feel the most beautiful light and love in your heart and connection in your heart. And you guys set your intentions for any physical ailments you have or mental stuff that's going on or whatever you feel is necessary for today. And I'll let you know when I'm done. All right, we're good. Feeling good?
That was wonderful.
Glad to hear it. Okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next week. Hope, do you have 1 second to stay on? Bye, guys.
Sorry, I was late. I totally had, well, I'm in Pacific time, you
Oh,
know,
no.
so I had 5 in my head. And then I went on Discord, you know, I told you I was like, oh, I need to get on Discord. So I saw that there had been a message that was like, is anybody having?
Everybody
Anyways,
was late,
frantic
yeah.
panic,
No,
but
that's
I made
okay.
it.
Okay, I'm glad you're here, and you can watch the recording for the beginning. And it
Okay,
will
thank
be
you.
it will be at 7 on Sundays going forward, just so you know.
Okay, I'll set it in my phone.
Perfect. All right, bye. Good
See
to
you.
see you. Let me stop.